Hello everyone and welcome back to another Raiders video. In this video, I'll be talking about the Josh Jacobs, recent news, the franchise tag, the extension, all that stuff, kind of my thoughts on what's going to happen going forward. So let's get into it. So of course, Jacobs was franchise tagged, back in March and has not signed, the franchise tender and was not given an extension. And we are past the deadline of July 17th. So now what's going to happen going forward? There's really only two options, maybe three. Number one, it's he plays going into week 1, but anyway, no matter what, you probably will be holding out training camp. Like more than likely July 25th he's not here, and probably that'll be going on for a couple of weeks, like even into preseason. But there is also a chance that happens, and then he signs his tender and he plays week 1 and going forward, and then plays the season out through the franchise tag, and then we'll see what happens in March if he gets tagged again or extension, or maybe another team signs him, we let him walk. But maybe there's also the chance that he doesn't sign it right away and he starts holding out. Now, if he does that until week 10, then he forfeits the whole season, which of course he wouldn't do because then he loses all the $10.1 million. The reason he wouldn't do that, obviously, is because he would want to get the $10.1 million, the most money he would ever have made in his career so far. Of course, he was making first-round money, being a first-round pick for the past 4 years, but not as much money as $10.1 million that he's supposed to make this year. Is it what he deserves? Probably not. He probably deserves more, like 13 at least, based off his production and playing hurt and carrying the team in games last year. Every year of his career, pretty much, there are games where he's carried the workload. But $10 million is still a solid amount, and still is tied for, I believe, third in the league. Of course, with Saquon and Tony Pollard, and below some guys like Henry, McCaffrey, and Kamara. And also Nick Chubb, I believe, makes around $12 million per year AAV. Josh Jacobs probably does not want to lose out on the money, and also that would hurt his value going into next free agency, because if he doesn't play this year, then us or whatever team that is potentially looking to sign him is not going to pay him as much if he doesn't play for the whole year. So unfortunately for him, it looks like it would be the same thing as last year. You have to go out there, you have to put your body on the line and be a very good player again. You can definitely do that being 25 years old, only entering year 5. The offensive line is pretty much the same. There are some new guys, Dylan Parham will probably get better though. At guard, instead of Alex Bars, you might have Greg Van Rottweiler and Tay Moody, who's probably a better run blocker. Well, is a better run blocker anyway. And, he's going to be good. Like, if he plays, he'll be good. So, but then the question is, like, even if he has 2,000 yards rushing, will the Raiders still want to pay Jacobs $14 million? I don't know. Like, he could have 3,000 yards. I don't know if they would ever want to pay him. And even with that, getting into another option I was going to talk about was maybe a possible trade, which does not seem very likely to me. Because the Raiders are not going to give him up for nothing, so a team would have to trade something valuable to get him, and then would have to pay him. The team's probably not going to give something valuable all to trade him 1 year later, all to let him walk 1 year later. So like, you're not going to take Jacobs for 1 year, give up something, and not pay him. You know what I'm saying? So like, the team that trades for him would have to trade the pick or player or both, and then pay him, which I don't see a team out there doing. So that's why I think it's kind of tough right now for the running backs. Like, Jacobs is a very good player. If he said he wanted $10 million, the whole league would be trying to get after him. But of course, that's just not good enough for one of the best running backs in the league. He would at least get $12.8 million, because I believe that's about how much Derrick Henry makes. So if you want to get into the top 3 of running backs, right behind McCaffrey and Kamara, because at this point I don't know if anyone's going to pay running back $15 million. But if you want to get into the top 3, you can get over Derrick Henry. He makes about 12.8. So that'll be good for him and his agent, and even for the Raiders, again, I think that's a solid contract. We're not really in position to win a Super Bowl, but it definitely would not. Like, I know people are saying the whole running back and Super Bowl thing, but we're a team that's not even close to winning the Super Bowl. So for us, I think it would be better to pay him. And also, we're a team that runs the ball more. We're not a team that has an elite quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo needs a good running game. He had that, and they got to the Super Bowl. Even though they had more of a committee, they still had a good running game. With Jacobs, even if it was Jacobs by himself, he can by himself just let us have a good run game. We don't even need Zamir White or anyone else. We just need Amir Abdullah to be a solid third down receiving guy. All we need to do is give Jacobs the ball. Zamir White got 17 carries last year. Now, I hope he gets more this year, because even if Jacobs plays the whole season, I don't want Jacobs to get 340 carries. That's crazy. And that's exactly how running backs don't last until they're 28. If he does that again for 3 more years, yeah, he'll be out of his prime by 28 years old for sure. But if he gets 300, 290, 280, and Zamir White gets 100, now that's a lot better for his health. Because Zamir White doesn't have to do a lot. It's not like Zamir White. If we don't have Jacobs, Zamir White's not going to be the guy that has to fill his shoes. Now, that's also impossible to do because, well, he's one of the best running backs in the league. And also, we don't have anyone that's as good as him, obviously, because it'd be tough to have two of the best running backs in the league. But it's not going to be Zamir White or Britton Brown or whoever by themselves trying to do it and be a running back by committee. Because Zamir White would take a lead, role, but doesn't mean he'd be the only one. So, he will have help from behind him. Of course, Samir Abdullah will still be a receiving guy, but Britton Brown, maybe Sincere McCormick, whoever else could be there, Bolden, and maybe he makes a team, the staff loves him, but, I think we can still run the ball solidly without Jacobs this year, but of course, Jacobs elevates us to a whole new level, with our run game. Of course, we know that you don't have to have the best running back to be a great running team, but when you have Jacobs, it's just one of the best running games in the whole league, and I'd rather not miss out on that. Obviously, it's not like we have a quarterback that can, destroy any defense without a running game. Of course, Jacobs could hold out into the season. I of course hope not. He's kind of running out of leverage. He almost is out of leverage at this point. Hopefully he plays for us starting week 1. He definitely will not be there in training camp, but not the biggest deal. But if you get really close to that week 1 September 10th game and he still hasn't signed it, then I would get really worried. But hopefully he plays. Hopefully he balls out. And I guess at this point the best case scenario was we pay him in March. If we don't pay him, I hope we don't even franchise tag him so he can go get his money elsewhere if there's someone that wants to pay him. But of course, to recap, of course it would hurt his value if he sat out this year. Same with Saquon Barkley. Tony Pollard's playing, as we know, under the franchise tag tender. So hopefully he plays. He will probably ball out if he does play. And now he might be even more mad than he was last year, which should be, hopefully for us would be scary to other defenses, because I would be pretty scared of a upset Jacobs. So that's what led him to do some crazy things last year. Won us some games, kept us in some other games. So Jacobs, one of our best players. I hope he sticks around. Next year, I have no idea if he'll be on the team. This year, I have faith that he will be playing for us. But 2024, he can be somewhere else. I don't know. Same with Saquon. Although with Saquon, I'll say probably it's more, the situation's probably worse for the Giants, because Saquon, I think there's more of a chance he actually sits out. But regardless, that was me kind of talking about Josh Jacobs and what could be happening going forward with his contract, with the Raiders potentially paying him, franchise tagging him next year, trading him, whatever could happen. I'm Arto, and thank you for watching.